Hey, what's up creator? Today we're talking about the RC 450B from Smallrig and why you should invest in such a powerful light. As a disclaimer, Smallrig did send me this light, but they didn't tell me what to say in this video, and also they didn't pay me to make this video, so this is an unbiased review. So most of you probably already know about Smallrig. They are very active in the camera cage game and also camera accessories. But they expanded their product line and released lights like this and also microphones, and they're coming with a lot of amazing products. And even though they have such a variety of products, they are killing it with every product they produce. So this light might be the best bang for buck in terms of lighting. So if you're a professional filmmaker or content creator, this light can be very interesting for you. Alright, let's start off with the technical facts of this light. And as the name already says, the RC 450B has an input of 450 watts with an output of 121,000 lux, which is very bright. And the B stands for B color because this light is capable of changing the Kelvin from 2700 to 6500, which is very useful in most of the scenarios if you shoot somewhere where you don't have control over all the lights and you want to match the color temperature. Alright, so let's take a look what you get inside the box if you purchase this light. You get this carrying bag here from Smallrig, which is pretty standard for these premium lights nowadays. And if you open it, let me put this aside. So of course you get the light itself, which is this one. So it looks very nice, pretty futuristic, very nice design. So if you want to impress your clients, this is the way to go. You get a reflector dish. So you get this reflector with the Bowens mount here. So you can just attach it in the front of the light. So just take off the cover here and then you can just click in and there you go. Also you get a power module, of course, which is this brick, and you just connect it to the light with this cable. And this is very nice because usually you have multiple adapters which are tangling around, but this is very nice because you just have one brick, you connect it to the light, and then you have this power supply cable which you plug in the brick here and then you plug it in into whatever you call it in English, I don't even know, but you know what I mean. And the control panel is on the light itself, which is pretty nice, pretty awesome, because on other lights, for example, for the Godox VL150, which I have here, also the VL300, you plug the cable in the light and then you have something in between the controller and then you go from the controller to the power supply, which is not so neat because this thing is tangling around, and if you want to move the light, you probably faced this problem already, but I will show you in an example afterwards. And one very special thing you get here is this little piece, which makes this light very unique from other lights. And this is a fluid head. I will show you in a second what this does, but this is very nice. You have a base plate underneath the light itself here. So this means you can actually also mount it on a regular tripod without any problems. Let me show you these example real quick. Alright, so what you basically do is you take this fluid head, you mount it on your tripod like this, and then you screw it on. After that, you can take your light and mount it just easily like that. Show you this side. You can just tighten it easily. There you go. Usually, if you want to change the angle of your light, usually you have an U bracket and you open it on the side. But here you just open this here, this handle, and nothing happens, right? It doesn't fall down automatically. You need to put some force on it to change the angle, which is pretty nice. It's even pretty strong. So this means you can put a big softbox on it and it doesn't just fall down if you don't hold it like the other lights, because if it's up high, it's sometimes difficult to reach. So this is a pretty nice feature they added here. I never saw this on another light before. Alright, before we turn the light on, let me show you the Godox VL150 I was talking about, and let me show you what Smallrig did very good in their new lighting system in comparison with the Godox light which I have here right now. Alright, so as you can see, this light, if you put a big softbox on it, it's gonna fall down automatically because you don't need a lot of force here and it already turns around. Or it tilts actually. But if you have a small softbox and this is not a problem for you, it's probably no problem, but I see a kind of problem here because I use big softboxes sometimes on set, and this is pretty dangerous because you have to hold it, you have to screw it off and then tighten it again, and yeah, sometimes it even falls down a little bit more. So this is the first kind of problem I have usually with these kind of lights. And then I will show you now what kind of cables you need to just power this light here. Alright, first of all, this is the controller, which Smallrig already integrated on the light itself. So a big brick, this thing is tangling around on the light, which is pretty annoying sometimes. Or actually most of the times if you move it around the light. So from the controller, you need this cable to plug in into the light, into the controller. Next one is this power supply. You also need to plug it in into the controller. And this power cable. So you see it's too much for this little light here. In the Smallrig light you just have this power brick and the power supply cable. And that's all. Next thing here is, let's say you plug it in as usually, and sometimes you want to bounce the light from the ceiling. So first you use it as a key light, then you go and change the light location and want to kind of bounce the light from the ceiling. So you do this, and there you see it. You are blocked. You cannot turn or tilt this light even further because the cable interference here. So you have to take off the cable, turn off the light first, take off the cable. Also the cable is pretty, sometimes it's stuck in here. Step bro. Alright, then you can plug it in again like this, and then you can bounce it from the ceiling. But then you see, oh man, the angle is not right, so I have to turn it a little bit more, and again this cable is in the way. So this is a big problem for me. A lot of times I just experienced this, but with the Smallrig light, easy as that. You don't even need two hands, you just screw this off, change the angle just like this, no problem. Key light, bouncing off from the ceiling, then go back to key light again. As easy as that. Yeah, it needs a little bit more power here, but if you have a softbox there, it's a lot easier than to do this. This was the first kind of problem. Next one is you have this thing here, which is better than on other manufacturers. You have this little strap. So let's say you're on location, you strap your light, and of course this cable goes in here. Then you want to change location. You walk like this and you think, oh shit, this thing is gonna fall off sometimes. And also if you put a V-mount here and if you put it on here, it's even off positioned like this. And usually I use a big brick here, so it's like this, so it's even more dangerous. So sometimes I just have to turn it around like this, but it's also not so great because you have to turn this to change the light strength. These are my kind of problems I had with the other lights I have. But I also see a contra here because it's so easy to just put a V-mount on here. I heard you can also get V-mounts with this adapter here, so I never saw these, but I heard that you can get these, so this will be also mobile friendly, because I thought you cannot do this like on the Godox light here. Alright, so you probably ask, what if you mount this very high on the ceiling and you want to change the brightness or the color temperature? Dude, the other lights have a controller like the Godox one, but you can optionally also get this Smallrig controller here, which looks like this, but this is not included in the normal box, so this is optionally. I know you have to pay a little bit more for this, but it's totally worth it, especially if you mount it up high and you cannot reach the knobs here on the back of the light itself. And you also get this little module here, which is also great. You can actually mount it somewhere, either on the tripod of your camera or on the light stand itself. And this is magnetic, so you can just attach it just as easy as that. Take it off, make your settings and put it back in. And of course, besides of the controller, you can also remote control it via app, the Smallrig GoGo app. But if I'm on location, I usually use my smartphone for checking the shot list or the storyboard, so my smartphone is kind of occupied. Also, I noticed if you set up your light and everything, you dial in your brightness and then somehow you turn off the phone or you get into screensaver, you walk around and after 5 minutes or so you want to reconnect, and sometimes it just doesn't work. This is not very reliable to me, so I would rather prefer something like this to control the light. Alright, let's plug it in and see what this light actually offers, what you can do with the light. And by the way, for the power supply, you also get this hook here, so you can also put it on the light stand and also tangle it around like like before. But yeah, I mean, you can also put it down on the ground. You can use a extended cable, so you don't have to put it on here. So yeah, there's another option to avoid this, which you cannot do with the other regular lights, I would say. Most of the manufacturers do it like the one I already showed you. Let's turn on the light without the controller first. All right, you just turn it on like that. It starts up a couple seconds. And now look how bright this already is. It's at 24%. It's so bright. Look at the background. It's it's so bright. Here are the knobs. You can change the intensity very smoothly. The 1%. It's already very, very bright. And on the middle knob, you can change the color temperature from 2700 to 6500 in 100 increments. And here is a button for FX. You can have some special effects. This one is called paparazzi. And with the third knob, you can change the frequency on how intense this should be. You can change the modes up here with the FX button. You have different modes. And if you want to use the controller here, you just plug it in like that. And first, the light will turn off because on the controller, you also have an on-off switch. So you can turn on and off the light from here. So it actually has the same controls, very similar. You can change the intensity here, the color temperature, and also activate the special effects over here and change the frequency down here. So pretty neat. You can just take this off, change your intensity like that, change your color temperature like a gaming controller, then put it back on the light, shoot your video, and if you see, oh, I need something to change on the light, take it off again, walk to your camera, change the intensity, check it with your camera, and put it back. Or even if you have your camera on a tripod, you can also put this on the camera tripod, as I already said. Alright, so you probably also hear the fan noise, so I'm going to shut down every noise reduction effect so you hear how it sounds when the light is right on my face. So usually you don't even put your microphone as close as this to your microphone, but just so you can hear the noise, how loud it is. It's on 1%, so I'm gonna increase the intensity here to about 70. Oh, it's so bright actually. Oh man, I better take my camera off. I think even my external monitor I use here is louder than the fan of the Smallrig. Let me take this off so you can hear it, and I will hold it in the microphone actually. Put it here where I usually speak. I think it doesn't get any louder. I used it for couple hours without any problems. As I know, it doesn't get any louder than this. So let me turn this off real quick so we can continue with the video without flashing you guys. So as I mentioned, this is the B version, which is B color. There's also a daylight version, which is the RC 450D. And of course, there are also less powerful lights. So from the newer series, there's also the RC 350B and D, but you can also go lower to 220 and 120. But 350 and 450B and D are the newer models. So how much does this light actually cost? So the RC 450B comes in at the price tag of $1,099 US at the time I make this video. The daylight version is a little bit cheaper, which comes in at a price point of $999, which is only $100 difference. So in my opinion, it's totally worth it to go with the B version because it's so versatile, and I faced a lot of scenarios which I had to adjust the color temperature of the light to the environment to make it match. And the 350 versions are a little bit cheaper. So the RC 350B version comes in at the price point at $899, and the D version is $100 cheaper, which is $799. So you might probably ask, do you even need such a powerful light? And in my personal experience, I use this light at 100%, so I push it to the absolutely maximum sometimes because I like to bounce it off walls and ceilings to make the light look natural, especially when your talent is walking. You cannot always use a softbox and one key light. This doesn't match every environment. Most of the times, of course, it works. It really depends on what you're shooting. But if you want to have some more dynamic in your shots, probably a higher output will serve you better because you can bounce it off walls, you can bounce it off ceilings, especially if you shoot during the day. You want to expose for the windows. So if you expose for the windows outside, I cannot show you right now because it's raining the whole time in Switzerland. So if you want to expose for the windows and don't want to have blown out windows in your shots, in your videos, you have to have a very powerful light to counter that light from outside, because the sun is so powerful. I sometimes also use a 600 watt light, which I have in my arsenal as well. So overall, the Smallrig RC 450B is an excellent choice for videographers and content creators who want to have a powerful light to create professional videos. Also keep in mind, if you want to shoot high frame rates, you also need a very powerful light, and 450 watts is just a sweet spot for this. So I personally would totally recommend this light, and even if you don't need such a powerful light, you can go with the 350B and D version, which is a little bit cheaper than this 450B version. So I hope you enjoyed this little review about the RC 450B. I had a lot of fun with it. I will use it in my future productions. I already implemented in my recent works, so you have my word, you won't regret this purchase if you're looking for a new powerful light. So if you have any further questions, please let me know down in the comments, and also if I forgot something in this little review, let me know and I will try to answer your question as best as possible and also improve my reviews in the future. So thank you so much for watching, and I will catch you in the next video.